We often hear that the underdog should always stand and fight, no matter the odds. Sun Tzu, however, was a realist. In this lesson, he delivers a cold mathematical truth. A smaller, weaker force will always lose a direct confrontation. Welcome to the eighth deception. Avoid engaging the enemy that is stronger than you. In the world of 2026, this isn't cowardice, it's the highest form of strategic intelligence. Sun Tzu's logic is simple. If the enemy is numerically superior, better equipped, and more efficient, a head on battle is not a contest, it's an execution. Don't be there. Keep mobile, move out of the way, stay liquid until the situation changes or you can find a different, more vulnerable target. The Russia-Ukraine war has been a masterclass in knowing when not to stand your ground. In the early days of the 2022 invasion, and again during the heavy Russian summer offensives of 2024 and 2025, Ukrainian forces frequently practice elastic defense. When faced with a massive Russian armored fist or a meat-wave assault that they couldn't mathematically stop, they didn't just stay to be crushed. They retreated from towns like Lysychansk or Avdiivka once the cost of staying became too high. By avoiding engagement with the stronger force, they preserved their best troops and equipment for a later date when the enemy was exhausted. Sun Tzu specifically mentions cities. If a city has good systems and high morale, don't waste your army trying to storm it. We saw this in the Russian attempt to take Kiev early on, and later in the grueling siege of Bakhmut. Russia ignored Sun Tzu's advice. They attacked well-governed fortifications at immense cost. Conversely, Ukraine often chooses to pick another target. Instead of a suicidal frontal assault on a heavy fortified city in the Donbas, they might launch a surprise mobile raid into Kursk or strike a logistics hub 100 miles behind the lines. They go where the enemy isn't strong. Sun Tzu's war tip is the ultimate guide for the underdog. Stay mobile, don't get pinned down. A static target is a dead target. If the enemy wants a big fight, give them 1,000 tiny ones. Strength is a phase. Eventually, the large army gets hungry, their tanks break down, or their political support at home wavers. There is no glory in a lost cause. The eighth deception teaches us that the goal of war is to win, not to die beautifully. If the enemy is a giant, don't try to wrestle him. Run around him until he trips over his own feet. Survival is the prerequisite for victory. If you cannot win today's fight, make sure you are still around to win tomorrow's. We've just explored the eighth deception, avoiding a superior enemy. For many, this feels like a lesson in retreat, but for Sun Tzu, it's a lesson in preservation. In the high-stakes theater of 2026, we learned that the bravest thing a commander can do is refuse a fight they cannot win. To wrap up, let's look at how the Art of Avoidance has kept the smaller force in the fight during the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The core of this lesson is that mass only has an advantage if it has something to hit. Throughout 2024 and 2025, we saw Ukrainian forces master the invisible withdrawal. When Russian forces prepared massive artillery to level a specific defensive position, the Ukrainian units would often slip away just hours before the bombardment began. They avoided the engagement with a stronger force, leaving the enemy to shell empty dirt. By staying mobile, they turned the enemy's superior firepower into a waste of expensive ammunition. Sun Tzu advised that if the target is too strong, pick another target. We saw this perfectly illustrated in the summer of 2024. Rather than throwing their remaining reserves into the meat grinder of the Donbas, where Russia was the strongest, Ukraine launched a lightning mobile incursion into the Russian region of Kursk. They bypassed the giant shield to strike the exposed heel. They didn't engage the strength, they exploited the absence of it. Sun Tzu's warning that a lower rate of efficiency will always lose is the math of 2026. If you have 10 tanks and the enemy has 100, a direct battle is a 100% loss for you. But if you use those 10 tanks to strike 10 separate supply trucks, you have crippled the giant's ability to move. The survival mandate. First, preserve the force. You cannot win the war if your army is in a graveyard. Second, trade land for time. Soil can be retaken. Trained soldiers cannot be replaced. Third, stay liquid. Like water, move around the rocks. The rock is strong, but the water eventually wears it away. In your own life, don't feel obligated to bash your head against a superior competitor or a rigid obstacle. If they are stronger right now, back off. Stay mobile. Keep your resources intact. The situation will change, and when it does, you will be the only one with the energy left to seize the moment.